Hello and welcome back to our series of interviews with EuRA's members and colleagues around the world. Today it's my great pleasure to introduce you to Carmelina Lawton-Smith, Dr. Carmelina Lawton-Smith, who is our strategic consultant for education, as I'm sure you all know, especially if you've been to our conference. We have been amazed and delighted by the take-up of the Managing International Mobility programme. Obviously, as you know, we've made it entirely free for people to certify, and Carmelina, you've done a fantastic job getting the coaching approaches to mobility program online. So, you know, thank you so much. It's brilliant content. We've had great feedback. As a result of the thousands of people who have signed up to do the program, we now have this big cohort who are qualified enough to go forward and do their fellowship. So we thought today we would talk to you about what fellowship is about, why you should do it, and what's involved. So Carmelina, the original reasoning behind the fellowship level, do you want to talk me through that?
Yeah, because obviously that we now are aiming really for recognition in our industry. We know that people have an awful lot of expertise, and with all the training that EuRA has made available to them, people have been upskilling increasingly over the last few years, and therefore we really felt that there needs to be a designation to recognise the continued commitment and continued professional development that people put into this. And with the MIM programme giving us an entry-level set syllabus for the newer people to the industry, and then being able to build on that with the MIM Plus programme. As you say, we had a lot of feedback. We've increased that programme a huge amount, and you and the guys have done a huge amount in terms of increasing the ability of what's there and what's relevant to people. And there was no way really for those people to go next. So that the fellowship has always been designed really for people who want to continue their learning journey with original research, contributing to the industry really, people who perhaps have got a huge amount of knowledge and expertise and have built that level of knowledge that they could actually help other people with, or maybe actually research something quite unique that would help us get more recognition in the industry, for people to realise that actually this is a profession now. This is not just somebody in the back of their car, you know, just driving you around to find a house. There is an awful lot more to it, and recognising us as a profession really requires that. If you think about all of the professions, as we call them, like accountants and medical doctors and engineers, they all have what they call a continuing professional development requirement every year. So the accountants have to update with the new legislative frameworks and finance agreements and interest rates and rules and regulations. Similarly, the lawyers do. You find that in medical profession, people have to learn about new drugs and new treatments. And if we want to be a profession really, then that's what we have to do. And so the fellowship was very much designed as a route to help people achieve that.
And talk me through, I mean, there is just, you know, for people watching this, there is a module in the Academy which is free to access, which talks about the nuts and bolts of how the fellowship works. But can you talk me through exactly what it is and what the process is?
Okay, well, the fellowship, because it's aimed at original research, we give you a completely free rein as to what you want to write about. And it's basically a requirement to write 2,500 words, which I worked out is about 6 sides of A4, so hopefully not too scary. And it's in a very particular format. You were great in giving you a framework to follow in terms of sections. And the topic can be anything that you think is relevant to you and your business, but it's got to be based on something that perhaps might be a model or theory or something that you may have read somewhere. So rather than just waking up one morning and thinking, oh, that's a great idea, I'll write 2,500 words about that. It has to come from something that you might want to share, and it could be a theory, a book that you read, maybe a website, and then to actually explain that, but then explain why it's important to your business. What have you done with it in relocation? So we were talking earlier about contingency planning. So if through some difficult times you've thought, I really need to do some contingency planning, read some things and you thought that was really interesting, you could explain that to someone else, but then explain how you adapted it for your own business. That's the sort of thing. So the case study is completely flexible, just needs a bit of structure, but ultimately it should be something which is of benefit to you and your business. So this is not wasted time. This is time that you are actually getting the qualification, but outside that, it's actually contributing to your business and the activities that you would normally do anyway.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I was one of the first people to do the fellowship a number of years back, and I chose to do working with an intercultural board. The board of EuRA is made up of people from multiple different cultures, and it was a very useful thing to relate back to cultural studies, but also, in my own professional work, to understand that, okay, that person is responding to me in this way because this is the cultural way that they communicate. It's not meant to be rude. It's not meant to be confrontive. It's just, so like you said, doing something that relates back to your professional practice that is of use to you means that this is not, time just done to study. It's something quite relevant. So in terms of the support, but I mean, I know you and Wendy put together a mentoring program for this. Can you talk me through that?
Okay, so the case study, if anyone wants to do it, obviously there's a lot of information available on the website, and you are free to just submit the case study once you've written it for us to mark it, because we go through quite a formal process of marking where it's anonymously marked by two separate people. Life gets very busy, and what we found from a lot of people is, I talk to them at conference and they go, oh yes, I'd love to do it. It would be really, really great to have that designation, but things get in the way, stuff keeps coming in. So what we designed was a mentoring program to help with that process, just to kind of give a gentle support and push, I suppose, to be able to get the case study in. And what that involves is, over a period of 3 months, myself or Wendy, as you mentioned, would have 3 chats with somebody who wants to do their case study. And that would be, the first one would be just helping you think through what a suitable topic might be. The next meeting would be to actually base it on a plan, to write a plan of, okay, I think I want to cover this, and this is roughly what I want to put in it. And then as the last part of it, in the third meeting, to actually give some feedback on a draft that you may have written. So those meetings can be scheduled to fit whatever you want to do. It can be done in, a couple of weeks, or it can be done up to a maximum of 3 months. You tend to find if you leave it more than 3 months, things get in the way and you never do it at all. So we've tried to kind of keep it to that. And so that generally could equate to kind of 1 meeting a month. That means you've got a deadline, you've got something to work to, and you've got someone that you can knock around some ideas with, who know the criteria that you're going to be marked again, and so can give you some advice, both on the topic and what you include, and also giving feedback on the draft. And also writing in, it's not that simple, so it gives you just some advice about how you might phrase things and things that are not clear. And that means it's got more chance of just going through first time without too many other changes. Does that cover it? In terms of detail?
That's great. I mean, it is interesting because, like you said, you're welcome to just write it and submit it. And I think it is interesting how. I was going to say, at the moment, we've all got time, probably for the first time in a while. But the people I've been talking to have been telling me the exact opposite. That actually they're finding themselves incredibly busy right now. But if you do have teams who are furloughed, or you've got people in your organisation, or within yourself, you do find yourself with time, it's an amazing opportunity to go ahead and do something that will hopefully be constructive. And also, can you just we're trying our hardest to make sure that people get recognition for this, and we had some quite good ideas about that.
Yes, well, obviously if people have got time and they can do it, it is a great thing to do, because obviously, especially these days, so much of the research can be done online. There's so much available. You don't need to go to the library or get books anymore. And in terms of the benefits and the recognition that that brings, apart from actually having the satisfaction of being able to have done that, and hopefully been able to tease out some things in relation to your own business in terms of how it helps. But we at EuRA are looking very much to collate and bring this knowledge together. So for some of the better articles, we've had them published in European. They're generally available on the website. Longer term, we may actually be publishing white paper and putting them all together to act as a resource library, effectively. Sometimes we're asking people to present these topics at conference because they will make a good conference presentation. But also, I think that sort of recognition of contributing to the industry and be able to raise a topic that maybe other people haven't thought of in the context of relocation, because we've adapted a lot of things like the quality seal, for example, and the ISO 9000 type criteria on quality wasn't really known in the relocation industry until Europe picked up that baton and ran with it. And so it's things like that which it's by having those experts and being able to make use of their knowledge to contribute to others, I think can be a real win for a company in terms of PR and publicity, in terms of being picked up and being talked about.
Yes, absolutely. And it's interesting how right now with so many people going through the program, I've noticed that people are brilliantly, once they get their MIM certificates from the office, which are the only ones we have to send those to you once you qualify, putting them up on LinkedIn, and people are really intrigued, and people are going, congratulations, that's fantastic, well done. That is personal recognition for something that you've worked hard to do. And we make sure that you have a badge you can wear at a conference. Obviously, we give you the logo to be able to use on your email signature, but it is the wider topic of recognition for the industry, which I think is really key. So yeah, that's where we are. Now, I just have to codicil this by saying, unfortunately, there is a charge for the grading of this. We've kept it incredibly low. It is like everything that EuRA does, it's a not-for-profit program, but we do have to charge for the grading, and full details on that are in the academy. One further thing, I remember when I was studying, I was told I had to do Harvard referencing, and I remember being really freaked out by that until somebody explained it to me. It's really easy. Can you tell me what that is?
Okay, right. So because it is attracting a certain designation in terms of the EuRA logo, and obviously it gets a lot of credit, and things that are almost too easy to write wouldn't actually gain the recognition that they need, and therefore it is a formal piece of writing. And when you write formally in any academic sense, it's a matter of recognizing the contribution that other people have made. So referencing gets an awful lot of bad press because people go, oh, it's such a faff, and I've got to, find where this came from. But, the person who wrote that is quite attached to their idea and their theory, and they'd quite like to get the name check, which is all Harvard referencing is really. It's name checking the people where you got stuff. And the reason it's important is it gives credit to the originators of those ideas, but also it means if anybody's reading your article and thinks, oh, that's really interesting, I'd like to go find out more, they know where to go and get it. So in terms of, we ask people to use Harvard referencing, we are not necessarily checking every single full stop and comma as you might do if you were doing a PhD, but we would like to know where you got this information from. So did it come from a website? And if so, where is that website, and what date did you access it? Because things disappear all the time on the websites. I know that from bitter experience. Maybe it was a book. Can you tell us where the book has come from, what it's called, who wrote it, and when it was published? So if I want to find it, I know the right edition to go and find, because again, you get lots of editions of books. Sometimes you write something and the next edition it's not there anymore. So Harvard referencing really shouldn't scare people. There is a handout which gives you examples of what it should look like, and it is just purely that. Tell us where you got this idea, what are you basing it on, or have you just made it up? And that's what it's there to do. It's to put some academic rigor into it and to enable us to credit the people who have done a lot of work that you are building on. What is it they say? There's some phrase, isn't there, about building on the shoulder of giants?
Yes, yes.
And it's that really. So you know, the Harvard referencing, it's a bit of a pain, but it really shouldn't scare anyone.
Yeah, it's really not scary. And like you said, there is a handout on the Academy. And also, I mean, it is really as simple as saying something. I remember writing in mine something about the monochronic versus polychronic cultures. You just have to put Gert Hofstede 1964. You know, it's just who came up with the idea and when they did. And if you can put the book reference in or the link, it's fine too. It is easy. Carmelina, that's brilliant. Thank you. That's I really hope that people will go forward with this. It's genuinely, I remember the most tremendous feeling of achievement when I did it. In fact, I need to put a certificate. I haven't got it. So, Carmelina, great to see you. I hope that we will be able to talk again. We're planning to do some virtual conference programs during the week of the conference. So hopefully I will catch up with you then.
Yep, great. Thanks, Tom. Bye.
Good to see you. Bye.